Hey everybody, welcome back to The Word on the Street Is with Gaby and Michael, where we mention it all about your favorite Bravo celebrities and the shows that they star in.
Welcome to episode 8. This week I am filming from the lovely metropolis of Miami because I'm visiting my mom for Thanksgiving. So we got a little special location this week.
Michael's living out his dream of being a real housewife of Miami.
Yep, trying to find them all.
So we're going to start off this week's episode with some Bravo news. The Countess Luann has a new boyfriend and he's really cute. Michael, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he is, and he was or is a rugby player. He's a personal trainer. I'm super happy for her. I mean, he's pretty close to her age. He's a little bit younger, so I'm sure she's super happy right now. And the best part is that they met on Hinge.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know that. Heading into Atlanta news, Tanya Sam has quit Atlanta due to issues with the alleged Strippergate scandal.
I personally really like Tanya. I wouldn't necessarily say I would want her full time, but I love her personality. I think she's really sweet. I think she's funny. She's somebody that I kind of resonate with. You know, as we know, Strippergate happened, and Kenya was basically accusing Portia of Tanya of sleeping with the stripper, and trailer of Tanya saying those comments were disparaging. And I knew that she had stopped filming, but now it's come out that she's done filming altogether.
Yeah, that's a surprise to me. I also like Tanya. I think she's is fun to have as a friend. Wouldn't necessarily want her full time. She's a little too much for me, and not
Yeah,
like Nene and Kenya way. Um,
yeah.
it's a bummer to hear that she's leaving, but if anything, it's just going to add more drama to this season.
And also filming right now. So Atlanta is still filming. They've been filming for now 6 months, but they had to pause filming because one of the production members tested positive for COVID. So now they have 3 weeks left, but now they had to pause for a couple weeks. So, I mean, 6 months, we better have a nice long season of Atlanta.
Yeah, and I feel really bad for the cast member that got COVID. So fingers crossed they have a full and safe recovery. And touching on COVID, Kelly Dodd from OC's mom, who we saw when Kelly first joined OC, she's in the ICU with COVID.
Yeah, I'm definitely wishing her a speedy recovery. I'm not associating her with any of Kelly's comments, but I just think it's ironic that Kelly was making comments that, COVID was God's way of thinning the herd, which is just really a gross comment. And now your mom, she's super sick with it. So I guess I just hope there's some remorse for what she said,
Yeah,
especially now that, her mom having it hopefully puts it into perspective for her.
totally. This isn't the kind of karma I'd wish on anybody. Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully Kelly can reflect and see that she's really insensitive and ignorant, and hopefully she can grow from it. And to finish out our Bravo news is Ashley Darby from Potomac. Her and her husband Michael are having another baby boy.
Well, I'm super happy for Ashley. I'm not super keen on that relationship. I'm
Not at all.
kind of confused as to why they're even having another baby after all of the continuous cheating rumors and scandal. I mean, I hope that they're happy.
He's so gross. I cannot unsee the amount of memes that compare him to Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Like, it's so accurate. He looks like
Yeah.
Gollum.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't even have like a fabulous personality to redeem himself.
No.
And
I,
like, ugh. So at least like for Ashley with the babies, her genes are like the saving grace for their looks. Because baby Dean
oh, yeah.
obviously is cute AF,
Yep.
and that's all thanks to Ashley. So I'm thinking baby
Yeah.
number 2 will also be adorable, but again, thanks to Ashley.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Now I think we should dive into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yes, and this week we actually have 2 episodes to talk about because Bravo blessed us with episode 3 a week early because it was going to air right before Thanksgiving. So thank you to Bravo. So we have a lot to talk about and get into.
Yes, I cannot wait. These were two more great episodes. This season, I don't think we're going to leave this season feeling disappointed in any way. It's starting off strong, and I think it's just going to keep getting better and better.
I agree because that premiere was so good, and I was a little bit worried, like, oh well, the only place we can go from here is down, but we stayed right where the premiere was. We stayed on that level with that amazing energy.
Totally. And we still have issues with Jen and Mary carrying into week 2. Mary is obviously very fake with her apology because she was talking crap about Jen and her aunt still in the confessional, even after issuing her apology. So Mary's just really shady, and I think she's just going to be the villain this whole season.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the apology was super fake. It felt very Ramona to me, how Ramona, she just apologizes so that she doesn't have to deal with the drama anymore. So that's what Mary's apology felt like to me.
Like Ramona apologizing, she's always renewing herself, and same with Jax. Every season of Vanderpump Rules, he's renewing himself too. So it's like Jax and Ramona. Too bad they're not closer in age. They would be a great couple.
Oh my God, right? Yeah, I think that obviously in episode 3, we see that the apology does not last because Jen is still super upset. But obviously, this feud is probably going to last this whole season, which I'm here for.
Same. And Jen seems like she can definitely hold her own with Mary. And Mary just, she is so odd to me. But I am weirdly intrigued by her for obvious reasons.
I don't love Mary like personally as a favorite, but I love her for the show. She's just very interesting.
It's like a car wreck, like you can't look away.
Yeah.
Is exactly how I feel about Mary Crosby. So the star of episode 2 we thought was Whitney Rose. I really like Whitney. I think she is so sweet.
I love her too. I was saying after the premiere, I'm like, Whitney is definitely going to be underrated this season because she's not so in your face like Jen is or Lisa. She's not so bold like they are. She's a little bit quieter and quirkier, but she's still very funny. And I still think she has a lot to bring to the table.
I do too. And I really enjoy learning more about her and her background. And I like that she is willing to share like her family with us and her dad's struggle with addiction.
I'm hopeful for him. I'm just worried because of what I read about Mary's church. And obviously, in third episode, we see him at her church. I just hope he doesn't get taken advantage of by Mary.
Since we said last week it's a pyramid scheme / a cult.
Yeah.
So I think if he's looking for religion to maybe improve his life, maybe a different church other than Mary's.
Yeah, I would hope so. If what we read is true, I would hope that that's not the path that he takes.
Talking a little bit more on Whitney's family is Heather, who we know is her cousin. They have a really fun banter and they just have a really cool relationship.
Yeah, I love them both. I'm still not entirely sure how they're related, but I know they're cousins, but I'm kind of more curious about the relationship. But I love them together. I think they're super fun together. They were in the ski shop like dancing and I don't know.
It's kind of like LVP and Kyle back in the day when
Yeah.
had their fun banter.
Or Portia and Phaedra.
Frickin' frack, yeah.
Kind of talking about them in the ski shop, we also got a little bit of a daytime ski trip with all the ladies, which I really enjoyed. My favorite part was just the fact that they all showed up in designer coats and goggles and all super glamorous. Mary had that giant hat. I live for that.
Oh my gosh, all of their ski attire was so amazing. I loved seeing how they all like have ski glam. Yeah, like Beverly Hills, we got a glam squad. We've seen every type of over the top glam in the Housewives. I didn't think there could be any type of glam we haven't seen yet. I have to say, I think my favorite of all the outfits was Jen Shah, just because the head to toe leopard print looked so good on her.
Yes, I love Jen's, and obviously we know Jen is going to go all out for everything. Her shoes, even in the winter, she's wearing not on the ski trip, but she's always the truck's pulling up and they're showing the shoes, the glamorous shoes, and you know right away that is Jen Shah.
Yeah, I love her. And the thing is with Jen, as like flashy and extra as she is, she seems like a really like part of her seems like a really cool, nice, down to earth person. And I hope she doesn't lose that as she gains more fame from being a housewife.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that she doesn't. And I love the Shah Squad. I feel like she would be a really fun person to work for. I feel like it would be less of a job and more like a family dynamic with
Oh
her.
my gosh, same. I'm like, is Jen accepting applications? I want to be part of the Shaw Squad.
Somebody said Sonia's interns walked so Jen's assistants could run.
That I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like I would way rather work for Jen than be an intern for Sonia.
Oh my God, because working for Sonia would just be a mess. She's so unorganized. I also loved how we showed the little flashback of Jen practicing for the ski trip, and she's literally going through pairs of high heels in her chalet. That was so funny. All the assistants are cheering her on. Like, I think moments like that working for her would just be so great.
Oh my gosh. And also in that moment, I just wanted to be Jen. I was like, I need that type of energy in my life.
Right?
So let's start talking about Lisa and Whitney. What do you think about like this drama? Do you think this is going to carry out through the entire season, or like what do you think?
I think I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Lisa seems very conniving, so it definitely could. I definitely think Heather and Lisa will drag on longer because there's that past history also within it. I personally felt like Whitney was not being rude by letting Lisa know. I know a lot of people felt like it was rude because it was a gift and you're supposed to just be quiet with the gift and be grateful and that's it. But I did not feel like Whitney was being rude about it. I think she was just trying to let Lisa know that, hey, these bartenders were very unprofessional. I know that you're a businesswoman and you're about your business. So for future reference, you should know that these bartenders were unprofessional.
100%. Like I've worked in so many restaurants in my life, and you do not get drunk on the job. And I don't think Whitney is in the wrong at all for relaying that to their boss.
Yep. And they broke glasses. They were getting into very high end tequila. And the funniest part, when Whitney was bringing that up, Lisa goes, well, my tequila is high end. And the funniest part about that was when Whitney brought that up to her, she goes, well, that tequila was high end. And Lisa goes, well, my tequila is high end. And Whitney was like, well, you can't get that in the United States.
Yeah, Lisa is definitely very condescending to say if you felt threatened, it's not because I threatened you, it's because you felt that way. That's like telling somebody, I'm sorry if you felt that way. That's not an apology.
Yeah, it's just a crappy apology, basically. Again, what I feel the same way about Lisa as I feel with Mary, where they're not personally my favorites, but I think they're really interesting. Like Lisa did have some really funny one-liners that I was here for. The whole, if I give you a Chanel necklace and you choke on it, that's your problem. I think she's condescending. Then she said, well, I don't care enough to judge you. And then we got into more of the Heather and Lisa drama, the thumbs up drama. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I feel like an idiot. I send thumbs up to people all the time and it's genuine, just a thumbs up. Like, if they're like, hey, can you help me out with this? Like, sure, like as a thumbs up instead. Like, I've never sent that to anyone meaning it as an FU. Like, I really was thrown through a loop by that.
I feel like it's less of a FU and more of like a, what's the word? I think it's more of like the upside down smiley face. You know that emoji?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like it's like the K, like sending a K back.
Yeah.
Like you're annoyed, but you're just sending like one emoji. So it feels just like kind of rude to me.
I guess it's very circumstantial. Whenever I'm pissed at somebody, I've never used a thumbs up in place of what instead of like a K. So to anyone I've ever sent a thumbs up to, it's never been an FU ever.
Thank you to Salt Lake City for informing Gaby about the thumbs up emoji.
Yeah. I've never sent it with any malintent to anybody.
Now you're not gonna send a thumbs up anymore.
I am not. No, well, now I'm wondering if for all the times I've been sent a thumbs up, if people were telling me to F off.
Yeah, right.
Now it's just like, I'm going to be like thinking about this all day.
Well, I just love that the drama in Salt Lake City is like, it's it's just funny. We got hospital smell, we got a thumbs up emoji. It's so random, but it's still entertaining and funny, and I love that.
So something I didn't
Yeah.
see coming was Meredith and her husband being separated, especially since they were like out on a date at dinner when that bombshell was dropped.
Well, I did think it was kind of weird on the first episode where he sent like rose petals and to have basically Brooke set up, but then he wasn't gonna be there. And I just thought that was odd because rose petals to me seems like very romantic, like something you do on Valentine's Day when you're together in person. And it was her birthday and he wasn't there. So I guess for me, I'm just so used to like the divorce storyline and the separation and all that.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just not as excited about a divorce storyline because it's just so common in Housewives.
Yeah, I honestly think if that was Meredith's only storyline, then she wouldn't be on the show. But since she has Brooks, her son, who's clearly around a lot, like he even has a confessional. Really, I've never seen a housewife child get a confessional in the first season.
Yeah,
Like Brooks is gonna be a big part of her storyline, since I guess since they are separating. But it's not gonna be her only storyline, I think.
what do you think about Meredith not letting Seth go through her text messages? Do you think it's shady or do you think that he should trust her?
I mean, I do in those situations, I try to put myself in other people's shoes, even when they are celebrities. And the only time I wouldn't let my fiance look through my phone is if there is something that I don't want him to see. And there is nothing on my phone that my fiance can't see. So
Yeah,
unless it's like a Christmas present or something, that is the only thing I'd be hiding on my phone that I don't
yeah,
want my fiance to see. So that's just how I feel. If you have something to hide, then you're not going to show it. So I think but if they are separated and she's seeing someone, that's fine. I
yeah,
don't
that's
see a
fair.
problem
I
with
mean, she's
that.
allowed to.
Yeah, if they're separate. And I mean, and then the confessional, Seth even was like, I can't stand the thought of you seeing someone else. And she didn't say anything. She looked very awkward. And that's why I think she's seeing somebody else.
Yeah. And then there is that little snippet in the trailer where he's like grabbing his bags and leaving. So I think there's going to be more that we're going to learn going on. For me, like in my relationship, it's not that we necessarily like share our phones just because I think there's trust there, but I agree that you wouldn't share your phone if there's something you're hiding. But I guess right now they are together because she posts in her Instagram, she posts with him still. But it's funny, she doesn't tag him. She says, don't look at him, he's mine, like instead of tagging him.
Well,
So I guess they're okay. I don't know. Speaking of Meredith, I guess we can just go right into episode 3 now.
yeah, let's do it.
I liked Brooks the first episode. I felt like some of the fans were kind of overhyping him. I'm like, okay, it's only one episode. Let's like not like start making these fan accounts and like going so crazy over this guy that we've literally seen like an hour's worth of TV from. I thought he was funny and snarky, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, like let's give him a few episodes. Now after this episode, I'm not so keen on him just because I felt like he was so judgy to Jen. All she was doing was a leg kick. She was not anywhere near him, like on the couch over. And he's like beyond shocked that she would do that. And my mom would like bring someone around. And I just felt like it was so exaggerated and he was just overreacting. And I absolutely hate that. Because if I was there, I'd be like hyping her up, like, yeah, like this is fun. Like, I don't know. So I just don't like those kind of personalities.
Yeah, and he totally was like, be like, I don't want my sister seeing that as well. Like she doesn't need to see these kinds of things. And it was
She's
like,
18. She's not like a 10-year-old girl.
yeah. So I don't know. And then Brooke's telling his mom she has to like cancel her sleepover with her friends. If
Yeah.
I were Meredith, I'd be like, no.
And he's like, well, sorry, but you own a business. You're never going to have time for a sleepover. It's like, are you her manager?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, shut up, Chris Jenner.
And then when Meredith put on the blender and it like shot everywhere. And he goes, "Where's Leticia?" Like the maid. I just thought that was just,
Yeah. I know.
and I'm not saying it's his fault that his parents raised him, so privileged like that, but it's just like, as a viewer, it's just a little bit off-putting.
Yeah, Brooks just he comes across very entitled, and the same like energy I was feeling from him in the first episode. Like I was loving him. I thought he was so funny. Now I'm just like, oh God, I hope you don't behave like this the entire season.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't believe that he took the semester off to support his mom. I think he took the semester off because he knew she was filming a show, which I don't blame him. I'm not judging him for that because I would probably have done the same thing. So
Totally.
I
I
just,
think he's there to promote his clothing line.
yeah, which good for him. I mean, I would have done the same. So I'm not judging, but I just don't think he's being honest by saying he just took the semester off to support his mom.
Totally. I want to know where he goes to school.
Oh, yeah, I'm curious.
Where is he taking a semester off from?
Right.
So we also learned a little bit more about Mary in this episode, and like more about her dynamic with her grandfather, husband. Like every time she talks about him, like she always mentions the fact that it's an arranged marriage. Like she does not seem happy with him.
Yeah, it feels definitely like it was arranged and it was a business deal more than a relationship and a marriage because, she talked about how her grandma died and basically she took over her grandma's role in the church,
Yeah.
taking over the businesses, the homes. It's like she was just put in her grandma's position for a business, for the businesses.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, she had to marry Robert Sr.
I don't think she can leave this marriage because of finances, the home, and her church too, I'm sure.
And she also talked about her grandma said, she wants her to have that life that she never had growing up with money, basically. So I feel like, she's doing it for the money and the business side of it, which I'm not judging because I'm sure she makes a lot of money. I just don't know that she's necessarily happy with the relationship.
I will say the only thing I like about Mary is that she has the best facial expressions ever. And we like saw that with her, like talking to her son, saying that he can't be away from his girlfriend, which was really funny.
When they're at dinner after the ski trip and her eyes are all big and she's like, "Can we just all get along? Can we just start over?" And like her little comment was so funny to me.
Yeah, and like when her son was like saying all that stuff about his girlfriend, just like the look of horror on her face was so funny.
I mean, I felt like he's 17. I didn't feel like they should send him away just because he has a girlfriend, but it was funny. I also would love to see more of the storyline between her mom and her because it seems like there might be some resentment between the two because her mom wanted to be the one that moved into her grandma's spot, but she picked Mary. So I definitely think there's tension between the two, and I'd love to see that play out on camera.
Yeah, that dynamic of like the grandmother choosing her granddaughter to marry her husband, and then the fact that Mary's mother wanted to be chosen for that. Ew.
So then you're marrying your stepdad, which isn't any less weird, but it's all very interesting. And as a viewer, I just want more from her. And I feel like this was the first episode we got a little bit more of a look into her life. I also wanted to talk about Heather when she was discussing like her divorce and how basically she said she's never been in love and she had to stay in her marriage because she was Mormon and you can't get a divorce. That made me really sad. I feel like overall Heather has a pretty low self-esteem and it makes me, I guess, just really sad. I mean, I definitely think I agreed with Jen saying that you should not stay in a marriage and set that example for your kids that you only stay in a marriage because of the kids and because of the church. That's not right. And you want your kids to know that they have the freedom to leave a relationship if they're not happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like that is so sad to me to think of somebody being married 13 years with 3 children and being like, I don't know if I've ever been in love. Like that's so terribly sad to me.
Yeah. And I feel like the Mormon church really has negatively affected her because of that. And it just kind of seems like a really toxic environment.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that Heather is not with the Mormon church anymore.
she seems a lot happier without it. And I would love eventually to see her start dating again and, find someone. That's what I would love for her.
Totally. One more thing about Salt Lake City was Lisa's son driving. Like,
He literally looks like he's 10 years old, I swear. Like,
I was like, I can't even believe he has a learner's permit.
and then when he said pullout game strong, I was literally like, ugh. We saw more of the Shah Squad, which we said earlier we love. And they were doing Jen's hair and makeup, which was right before we went to Heather's white party for all of her workers that were pregnant. But then, so the Shah Squad was doing her makeup and her hair was like kind of down and she had like a darker maroon lip. But then when she showed up to the white party, she had her hair in a ponytail. So I think it was just something weird with the editing where they were doing her makeup for the Roaring Twenties, but then they put that before the white party. So that it was just like a weird thing with the editing that I noticed. But speaking of the white party, I definitely, as we know, Jen is not over what Mary said about her aunt, which I don't blame her. I mean, a little bit of part of me is like, okay, she's overreacting a little bit, but I feel like it really like sat with her for a while and she's like, no, this is not sitting well with me and I'm not. And I think Jen is very hot-headed. So I definitely think that she's going to blow up again eventually. What do you think about Meredith going to Mary's church? Do you think that was her not being loyal?
I think Jen's overreacting a little bit. And I think Jen
Yeah,
taking it a little too personally. I mean, I get sometimes like you're like, why is my friend hanging out with someone that I actively dislike? Like, no one likes that feeling. I think Meredith is trying to kind of play both sides of the fence.
yeah, I agree. Meredith seems to me the most in the middle on the city. I don't think she's going to be one that takes sides or really gets involved too much in drama, which, we always have that type of person, that Cynthia Bailey,
Luann,
yeah, Luann. We always have on each city someone that
who tries
really
to be the
takes,
mediator.
yeah, the mediator. So I definitely think that Meredith is that for Salt Lake City. And then I guess finally for this episode, we partially got into the Roaring Twenties party, but as we see in the previews, that's probably going to get continued more next week. But Jen is going to blow up because at Meredith for taking Mary's side and saying, "You're taking Mary's side who slept with her grandfather."
Yeah. Well, also, I think Jen had way too much to drink. If
Before,
Yeah, she had a lot to drink before the party, and then she clearly had a few more once she was there. So she was feeling toasty. So
yeah,
there clearly were a lot of unresolved issues and anger towards Mary. So that mixed with a bunch of cocktails and the fact that she isn't really over everything that's happened with Mary is just a really
yeah.
bad combination.
Oh yeah, I definitely think she was anxious about the party, and so she was drinking. I've done the same thing, and I also think she's going through some marriage issues as well because she's touched on how she misses Sharif and he's not always around. There's days when he works from 5 a.m. and doesn't get home till midnight. And so then when Meredith canceled the sleepover, and she also talked about how, oh, she can just go over to Meredith and, that will keep her busy and she has her friends. So then Meredith canceling the sleepover and then going to Mary's church, I think really is what triggered Jen to like feel like Meredith was switching up on her.
I think so too. Hype is real about this show.
Yeah, I definitely think so because although the views have not been that great, the second episode only got like 600,000. I think it's partially because the time slot is at 10 p.m. So it's pretty late. I think they should have put it either before OC or move OC to 8 o'clock and put Salt Lake City at 9. This city is reaching a lot more people. Yeah.
And even Emma Stone is obsessed. She was telling
Yeah.
Fallon how obsessed she is with Salt Lake City.
Well, I think a lot of new viewers are actually getting excited about it. So I think it's definitely a hit. And Andy even said on Twitter that it's a huge hit. Don't worry about the views. And especially now, in 2020, a lot of people watch it the next day or they stream it.
I don't have cable, so I watch everything through BravoTV.com.
So I definitely think the ratings aren't as important anymore. But
let's head over into my neck of the woods. I also live in Orange County, and I live like, I wouldn't say like 30, 40 minutes from the Housewives. They're further south than I am. I'm more like northern Orange County. But Bronwyn's mom, Dr. Deb, she's around again. Ugh, she is so mean. Like the fact that not only is she not supportive of her daughter like not drinking, but she even said to her like, oh yeah, you're not as fun when you're not drinking. Like that is so hurtful. And like that's one of the things Bronwyn has been so worried about with being newly sober is like, what if people don't want to keep hanging out with me?
yeah, I never liked her either. There's obviously a lot of childhood trauma that Bronwyn has with her mom, and it seems like that never got resolved. And her mom is still so mean to her. You know, we saw earlier in the season that Dr. Deb was talking to Tamara of all people bad things about her own daughter. Like, who does that? She's just not supportive at all. And I just think she brings up a lot of insecurities in Bronwyn that a mother should not be doing. Never a fan of her.
Never. And continuing with Bronwyn and what she is going through, she and Sean are doing vow renewals every 10 years. And since she said tequila is her biggest trigger with alcohol, she didn't want any tequila at the vow renewal. And Kelly was like so rude about it. And she was making such a big deal about the fact that there wasn't going to be tequila there. And it's like, one, you shouldn't be so rude about that, but two, it's like it's not like it's a dry event, like there's still booze there. Like how can you be so insensitive?
Yeah, I mean, it's Kelly, so I'm not surprised. But the fact that she said, why should everyone else be punished because you're the alcoholic? Blaming her, that was just a really nasty comment. And she said, well, if you're a diabetic, would you not have cake at your party? Just comments like that. I just think it's really just nasty. And what Gina said was funny. She's like, that Kelly Dodd, she's about as sensitive as a porcupine, or something like that, which is really accurate.
Yeah, that one was really funny. Gina's part, I agree 100%.
I mean, I agreed with Shannon. Like, yeah, if I'm going on vacation and I'm taking my kids and I'm getting a hotel, like, yeah, I am going to drink and enjoy myself. But I don't think that was the issue. I think you just need to be respectful that she doesn't want tequila at her party and she's paying for the damn thing. If she doesn't want tequila, that's your issue, not hers. Like, she's literally paying for you guys to have fun. So
speaking more on Kelly and Rick was them in bed. Ew.
oh, that was a scene I did not need to watch at all. I don't know why they had to film that or even after that air that. Like, so nasty.
Yeah, I don't need to see Kelly and Rick in bed.
But I don't need to see any of the housewives in bed with their husbands or their boyfriends. Like, I don't know. I just don't need to see that at all.
Something I thought was really weird about Elizabeth, like her whole past is just so weird to me. Like this time she showed like a whole collage of photos and it was like all these group photos of her and clearly with other women. Not one single person wasn't blurred out. Every single person in every single photo. It would be like a group photo of 10 people.
Yeah.
Single person, but Elizabeth's face is blurred out. Like what the hell? Like
there's something odd or dark in her past. I mean, it would make sense if it was just her sister who was struggling with addiction because, you know, if Elizabeth is talking about that, her sister may not want that out for everyone, but it's literally everyone is being blurred out. So I don't.
Her ex-husband, every single friend. Yeah. Why do all these people not want to be associated with you anymore? It can't be just because you don't have as much money as you used to. Because she also said her opening tagline is, I made money the old-fashioned way, getting married and then making more. So it doesn't seem like she lost everything after her divorce like she's making it seem. So the more I talk about this a lot about Elizabeth, the more suspicious I'm getting about her.
Yeah, there's something weird about her. And now next week, there's starting to be more drama with her where somebody like pushed her in the pool or she jumped in the pool and Gina's yelling at her. There's something, I think we're going to get more with her, which I just have not enjoyed her so far. So I guess I'm a little bit more excited to see her involved in drama. But
yeah, it's the contradictions are what bothers me.
We keep having this lingering coronavirus talk, which is just so weird. Like, watching it, 7 months later while we're still living COVID. But I think the only thing I thought was funny is the fact that Shannon, which this just makes sense, that she'd be the one to stockpile going on Amazon and getting all this food. And like, it's just so on brand for Shannon because
Yeah.
she's always freaking out about everything.
Yeah, she really is. And at least this season, she won't have like Tamara egging her on like usual. Last season
Yeah.
with the bowl, it's like made Shannon think she was going blind.
And Tamara always exit on for drama. And that's just one of the many reasons I do not like Tamara.
Oh, yeah, now that this whole season is about coronavirus, I'm just like, ugh.
I know it's like it wasn't that great to start, and now it's just gonna be COVID. So
Now going into Southern Charm, that is
right.
also what the season is turning into, like all about COVID. And it's like,
Yeah,
ugh.
especially just because like if it was the Atlanta girls and they were talking about COVID, I'd be like, okay, I could probably handle it. But it's OC and Southern Charm that we have to deal with the COVID stuff. I'm like, damn, those are like probably the worst shows to have this storyline. The worst for Leva with COVID because she has those rental properties, she has businesses, restaurants. So I feel like that's the most damaging to her and to John because he has kids that, as we know, he doesn't see very often. They're coming for spring break. So I feel the worst for them. Whereas like Shep and Craig and Austin, oh, you can't go out to a bar and drink, like boo-hoo. Like I don't feel as bad for you because COVID's here.
And
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like H1N1, the swine flu, mad cow disease. Like it did have like some impact on our lives, but it was really more just like a blip on the radar. And like we all went back to normal really fast.
Yeah. And
Nothing less.
I think this is harder to watch than the actual like it's like all this speculation. And I just think back to like when it was first hitting and like what my thoughts were. And I think it's the most triggering for me, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there really wasn't a whole lot besides coronavirus, except for the like Austin and John and Madison drama.
Which just feels
Um,
like made up drama, honestly.
yeah, I mean, definitely Patricia has her hands dirty with this one.
Does. I'm like, oh, Patricia, why? Why?
Yeah, over Austin. I mean, they're probably equal. I don't get why she needs them to be together so bad. But for me, it was weird that John, I know he was drunk, but he was saying like, well, I have to pick between between my relationship with Austin and my feelings for you. It's like, well, why do you think Madison even likes you? Like, never showed signs that she wanted to be with you, and she has a boyfriend. So I don't know um, why he's going after her so hard.
I don't know why either.
And I liked seeing Austin with Madison's son. So there have been some good moments. Hopefully, it's gonna maybe start picking up next week because I believe filming stopped when COVID hit. And so they're picking up again a couple of months later after we've all been in quarantine they've all been, quarantined for a while. So now when we start picking up again is gonna be when the whole John Calhoun drama, the Catherine sending the monkey emoji, Leva calling Catherine out. That's really the storyline I think both of us have been excited for. And I think we've just been waiting for it because I think so far this season has been pretty boring. Hopefully we're finally getting into something that's good.
I hope so too. And I can't wait to see the Calhoun statue get taken away and hopefully get made
Yeah.
into an incinerator.
Yeah, hopefully. But that's I'm guessing so then it probably starts picking up again sometime in June because that's when a lot of the protests were happening.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the statues were being taken down was in June. So I'm guessing they probably took like a 3-month break,
Yeah.
COVID, from filming. So maybe that was good because, we really didn't have anything pre-COVID. So hopefully now we're getting into something.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Because otherwise this season is a snooze.
So that is it for this week. We hope you enjoyed indulging in Salt Lake City, Southern Charm, and Orange County with us. We hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, and more importantly, that you stay safe and healthy and happy.
Yes, definitely. Hope you had a great holiday. We're excited that our next episode is going to be Atlanta. So we'll have, Salt Lake City and Atlanta are going to be our two big ones. And, we're going to still talk about OC and um, Southern Charm, but we're mostly excited about Salt Lake City and Atlanta.
See you next week.
See
Bye.
ya.